All right, everybody. Welcome to Totally Boise Podcast. So we have a couple special guests here today. As always, I'll be hosting with Lauren as a co-host here.
Hello.
And on our podcast today, we're really excited to talk about business in Boise in general with a couple Boise business giants, as I like to call them. So we've got Tom Beeles, CEO of Allied Business Solutions, and then we have Bobbi-Jo, who is president of Boise Chamber. So I'll let them do a quick introduction of themselves. You guys don't have to give life story, but just maybe a couple sentences about who you are, and then we're gonna get into some really exciting topics, and we're gonna talk about the Treasure Valley.
Well, first of all, I'd like to change my name because Bobbi-Jo sounds so cool versus Tom Beeles. I'm going to be referred to as Tommy B since you told me I'm in the hot seat. So this is how we're going to roll. Is that okay?
Right. That's great. That sounds great to me. Tommy B.
Other than I'm Tom Beeles, I moved to Boise 22 years ago and have a company called Allied Business Solutions. And I've had the pleasure of working with Bobbi-Jo on some projects with the chamber and stuff. And I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Tommy B.
Tommy B. Yeah. I'm Bobbi-Jo Meuleman. I've been at the Boise Chamber 2 years now and grateful for the opportunity and really appreciate all that Allied does and happy to be here today.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for being here. We appreciate you making the time to come out and let's get into it. I'm excited. So I want to start by talking about just the business climate in Boise today and I mean, how much it's grown from the past 10, 15, even 5 years and what you two are excited about what's coming next. I know with the influx of tech companies, of high tech stuff that's coming in, and especially the new Micron build out there, there's a lot of exciting news out there. And I want to hear first from Bobbi-Jo, what are you most excited about with Boise business climate right now? And what are some things maybe we don't know about that are exciting?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really lucky. I mean, you mentioned the Micron project, and I had the opportunity of touring the new facility. I did like a driving tour last week. And it's really like, it's hard to explain the scale of that project. I mean, we all hear about it and we talk about it, but then when you see it and all the opportunity that project is bringing, right? It's, you think about the facility itself, but it's all the ancillary things that are coming with it. And so I think because of that project, which is, you know, a homegrown company, which I think is really cool, the future for this community is really bright because of that, right? We're going to continue to see growth. We're going to continue to see investment. So I'm excited for that. I also think when you have growth and you have these opportunities, it actually really makes you think about too, well, what do you need to do to be prepared for this? What do we need to do to ensure that we can handle the growth? What do we need to do to make sure this stays the community that we all love? And it doesn't take us forever to get from point A to point B. People have places to live. And so I'm excited about the opportunity, but I'm also excited that I think it's energizing people to really start having conversations and planning for how we really keep up with everything and what investments, what plans, like what do we need to do so we can support the growth and continue to be, I think, the place everyone really loves living.
Totally. Yeah, because growth always comes with a new set of pros and cons, right? Problems to deal with and issues to solve. What about you, Tommy? You've been in business here for a long time.
Well, I think the investment should be in Micron stock because it's gone through the roof, I think. But, you know, we're not working out at Micron, but we are busy. And I think I've seen a lot change, it seems like in the past 2 months where there was a lot of nervousness. And I think people are still a little nervous other than the major projects going on like Micron. It does, you know, a lot of businesses are benefiting from that. And that's beautiful, right? Keeps everybody working. But I think the nervousness has kind of settled a little bit. I've noticed from 3 months ago to where, you know, maybe people were going to be like, well, we're going to hold off on this. We're unsure. Well, it seems like that new year triggered. And then all of a sudden people are like, hey, well, I've got to get on with my life. Yeah. Let's get going.
Totally.
And the climate is, you know, there's not a lot of snow, but people are still moving here and people are moving back. I think, you know, there's a lot of, I think I talked to a couple of young people the past 2 weeks where they were like, hey, I decided to move back here.
Yeah.
You know, where maybe they went away for 5 or 10 years for work and now they're back.
Totally. And a large percentage of people graduating Boise State from out of state want to stay, even if they don't end up, a lot of them want to. And I think that speaks to the general climate of, I mean, it's right here next to downtown, which helps. If you go there, you get an idea of how business works down here, especially if you try to involve yourself in it. So yeah, it's been definitely growth hasn't stopped, right? I mean, it's only sped up around here. What are some things you guys are looking forward to with the growth? How does it benefit local businesses? What are some of the things that you're most excited about with not just you guys growing with Allied, but the city growing in general from kind of a business perspective?
Well, I've always believed if you don't have growth, if you're not growing, you're dying. So in my mind, you know, you've got to have some growth. I mean, you don't have to grow all the time, but you've got to be on the trajectory of growth. Yeah. And, you know, people make the economy, people buy things. And the more people we have here, the better it can be, as long as we are all doing the right things, right?
Yeah, totally. And especially for businesses that have been here for a long period of time. And now we're dealing with, in the past 10 years, you've got all these new people coming in, right? I mean, that's new people for their business. And as much as people, there's a lot of things like you said, right? Like you got to get from point A to point B. There's traffic and there's a lot of people coming in. From local business owner perspective, if you're in the right market, I mean, it's a really big positive. Growth always is, you know, like you're saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. Definitely don't want Boise to die. So continue to let it grow, right? What, in your opinion, and I'll start with Bobbi-Jo on this one, what do you think makes Boise different for businesses compared to other places? What is some positives and what are some things even just in general that is a little bit different with the business climate here?
I just think the business community in this area they're so generous and they're so committed to their community. I mean, I really do think it is unique to, you know, this region and our state is just the generosity that you see from the businesses and their involvement, engagement in the community. And I think that is why we have such a lovely community here, right? We have, you know, the Greenbelt was the vision of, you know, investors and people, the business community in the day. You have a thriving arts community. We have a fun restaurant, downtown scene, right? We have a vibrant philanthropic community that is supported by our business community. I think it was a couple years ago, I counted like just within the kind of the Boise city limits, maybe like 5 capital projects that were going on through nonprofits. Wow. And they were all being successful. They were all reaching their fundraising goals. And that is all coming from the generosity and giving spirit. And so I really do think it is just that we care about our community. They want to see it be successful and they're engaged and they participate. And I think that's really unique and it makes this area just really special.
Yeah, wow. I agree. And you can feel it, you know, when you're around here in business stuff. Yeah. What about you, Tom? You've been in business here and other places,
hearing
right?
Bobbi-Jo talk about, you know, the culture and the Greenbelt. And I just was having a little bit of a flashback to why I moved here 22 years ago. And, you know, when I was looking at places, you know, Boise was smaller, but it wasn't that smaller, even 20 years ago, now that I think about it. And, you know, what did I look for as someone who wanted to be somewhere to raise a family? You know, we wanted somewhere that didn't have a lot of crime, but somewhere that had good community, good values, somewhere that had a decent education, secondary education system, somewhere that had good health care, somewhere that had plenty of green space, the mountains, the rivers, you know, outdoor things to do, and somewhere where any normal person that worked hard had the opportunity to make a 6-figure income. And I don't think that's changed much. And I think that's what still makes Boise different. Yeah. It really does. I believe that. Yeah. And it's still that same town. And I really don't see that changing because I think there's a lot of core family values where people do value families here. And they know their neighbors or they say hi to their neighbors. Big time. You know, I may have, 10 neighbors on my street and 80% of them aren't from Idaho and they still all go out of their way. Even one neighbor, we said, "What's your name?" He goes, "Everybody calls us Barbara Walters." And I go, "What? Barbara Walters?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, "I'm Walter and this is Barbara. We're from Long Island." And I was like, "No way. This is great." Right. So, yeah, that's awesome. But I think it's that and man, their kids are there every weekend. They're big on family. So I think that translates into what are the necessities? Like you said, education system, right? Higher education, good healthcare, good, the ballet, all of that stuff. That's what really makes a great community. Yeah, the culture.
I think to add on that too, I think, you hear from folks that come here for conferences or to visit, it's clean. We have a clean, safe, walkable downtown, right? And I think, unfortunately, we've seen what's happened to other cities in the past, 5-6 years. And I think we really have that going for us. It's just we're clean and we're safe. Definitely. Almost gone the other direction, right, than the cities have. When I went to Barcelona a couple months ago, and coming from here to there, that's the first thing I noticed was how dirty and how it smelled. Like, beautiful city, all this culture, but I was like, man, I want to be back in Boise where everything you can eat off the ground pretty much, But Lauren, what do you think? I mean, you talk to a ton of Boise business owners all the time, right? Running Totally Boise. What do you think is different about Boise business climate? You're from California as well, right?
Yeah, I am. So you talking about moving here, I grew up in Northern California. And so I'd say it's pretty similar to the Boise climate, but definitely I did a couple years down in SoCal and that was a very different environment. So me moving here, I mean, it's a shock to hear that you think that not much has changed because I think since for me, I moved here back in 2020, I feel like there's been a lot of change, but not necessarily in like the foundation of like the community roots and whatnot, more so in just like we are just more on the map, I feel like. Before moving here, I had no idea where Boise was, what it looked like. And now I feel like there are a bunch of other huge cities, states, people higher up that are like kind of zoning in on like what Boise is and who we're all about because we're becoming such a big player in the community.
Well, first of all, I want to clarify. I only lived in California for 7.5 years. So, I wasn't there since a baby like you. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
And you're right. You're right. There's more traffic. It's not the same, but those core values are the same. Of course, there's more traffic. Takes a little longer to get somewhere, but hey, you got more places to go. It might take a little longer to get there, but
Well, that's the beautiful part of the puzzle is we're able to get more traffic and more people without losing what made Boise great, right? And that's not easy to do. Like you were saying, a lot of those cities, they were what a lot of people talked about Boise, like Austin in specific, right? And then so many people for like years when I was serving at PF Chang's for a while when I was in college, they'd come here and be like, don't let Boise become Austin. Like they'd tell me that you hear that all the time. And it's an interesting thing because I still like Austin. My wife's family lives out there, but it is a special place here, and like the more I love working downtown, being downtown is there's so much energy and life that goes on. And I also like having the college right there. I just think it's a good business environment. There's like a good incubator for people who want to be in it and come directly into it. Most of our office went to Boise State, like 90% of them, and comes directly in. That's a nice pipeline to have in your backyard.
It's also a good spot for young people. I think with it being a growing economy and whatnot, and a bunch of people kind of moving in here and starting businesses, and with the Micron expansion and whatnot, there are a lot of opportunities for young people to kind of get themselves into the workforce and be in a growing environment instead of trying to like fit their way into San Francisco or some other huge spot that already has so much going on.
It impresses people when they come, right? That's like the bottom line. So many people come and want to stay, or they come and want to move, or people's parents come to visit them at college and they move out here. Like it impresses people when they come, and that's the biggest evidence you can have, right? That it's a great city. So awesome. All right, let's move on a little bit here let's talk about quickly, Bobbi-Jo, what about the role of the Boise Chamber? So what do you guys play from like an operational level? How do you guys fit into business environment locally, and how can you be a resource or business be a resource for you guys?
Yeah, so we are a member organization. So we hover kind of around that 2,000 mark of members, and we're very diverse in our membership base, right? So we have businesses that are very big and businesses that are medium sized, and then a lot that are one or two shops. And so we provide a lot of programming and things because we have such a diverse, right?
Yeah.
Membership base. So there's something for everyone. But our biggest thing is really we are advocates of the business community for the Treasure Valley, right? And so it goes back to, what does the business community need to succeed? How can we help with that? Is it advocating for workforce? Is it advocating for transportation needs? Obviously supporting our education systems. We can be a voice for the business community. And so that's a big part of what we do. And we're a partner, right? How can we help our businesses be successful? Allied's a great example of that, right? We work really closely together. How can we support each other? And so we do a lot, on that business side of advocacy and promotion and support. And then we have a whole slew of other things at the Boise Metro Chamber. We have leadership programs. We have all sorts of networking programs that helps people get to know each other, right? And build relationships. And that's how you start making business connections and business deals. So we really are just kind of a connector, a convener, an advocator. And our job is to support and be a champion for our great businesses we have here.
Awesome. Well, you guys do a great job at it, without a doubt. Yeah. Tom, for listeners maybe who aren't fully familiar, I want to give just a brief background on Allied and kind of what you guys do. Then I want to get a little bit into how IT and cybersecurity is bumping up so much in a business environment. Yeah.
So we're headquartered here in Boise, Idaho. We have offices in Utah and Oregon. We have customers in every state in the U.S., Alaska, Hawaii, customers in Canada that we service and support. We do IT services, from fully managed services for companies that have 5 employees or 10 or 20 or 50 employees to co-managed project work for companies that are, say, 3 or 4 or 500 employees, where they may have a complete staff of people. We will augment that staff with project work or maybe frontline, defense or something to that nature.
Yeah.
And then the office equipment and the printing business for us is huge. So we manage printer fleets and copiers for companies that have them throughout the nation. Making sure they have supplies just in time. Equipment breaks, it gets replaced. And then pretty much anything in the office technology wise, right? We're providing our clients the computers, the conference room setups, all that kind of stuff. So.
Cool. Awesome. So we talked a little bit off camera before this about the elevated nature of cyber threats and cybersecurity these days, right? Especially with the rise of AI, deepfakes, voice clones, even just phishing emails. You know, we've had a couple people fall victim here in the past couple of years. It happens, right? I mean, it was quite the experience, but it's, catch someone at the right time, vulnerable in the car, doesn't see the email address, boom, so it happens. So what in general do you think is, how have you seen that side of cybersecurity go? In the last couple of years and last couple of months, what are some things right now that people should be looking for, like threat attacks that maybe aren't even on their radar? And what is some of your advice just to local small businesses?
It used to be like, well, that'd be nice to have. I think it's a cost of doing business. So if you can't afford decent IT, you really need to look at your business model and what you're doing and say, hey, I'm doing something wrong, because you might not have a business if you don't take care of the stuff. And I think, getting different opinions from different IT providers and opening your door and saying, hey, come look at us. Here's what we're doing. The doors are open. Come see what let us share with you what security we're doing now. Let us share with you what technology we have. Find a couple trusted advisors of different companies that will come but you got to open the door and show them. And they're going to say, okay, now here's where you're at. Now here's where you should be, and get a couple opinions on where you should be. And then, do with what you think you need to do. But if you don't have a basic security package with, some end user protection, some spam filtering, and some solid password protection, hardware that's up to date and patched. I mean, these are some real basic things that you need to have. But you have to open the door. You have to invite a couple of vendors in. You can't just go off of, hey, we've had this IT guy forever, or, Billy Bob's been. I knew him in college and he handles our network. Those days are over. I mean, if you're not getting opinions from a true managed service provider that has, clients and a staff of engineers, then you're risking things.
Yeah.
You can't
Ignorance is no longer bliss.
The one or two man or woman show days they're coming to an end, in the same way that all these small businesses we used to have, there used to be 10 different copier companies in this town, and now there's really only like one or two local ones and a couple national ones. Yeah. Those options didn't exist anymore. Yeah. So I think we're going to see more of that on the IT side. But
yeah. It's like the industry's mature, and then
it's really maturing, and it's becoming a lot more professional. Yeah.
Well, I think also it's got to be the rate of potential cyber attacks have to be through the roof compared to 5 years ago, right? I mean, like people trying to hack, trying to get in, trying to do phishing, which makes it even more important to get some sort of security up so that you're not just, no one likes to have someone come into their life or their business and be like, hey, here's everything that you're vulnerable and here's everything you don't like, but it's so necessary to actually have any kind of protection, or else you're flying blind.
It's changing to more of a partnership on how can we be better at doing business and how can we be more protected? Yeah. What can we improve? And that's changing.
Ignorance is bliss until it's not, and then you wish you would have done something. Will you tell a story a little bit about the cyber attack down at MGM when you were down there and kind of how that all went?
Oh, last year.
Yeah. And just kind of.
Well, my wife and I got down there for an event we were doing down there, and we walked in and there was lines everywhere. There was probably 400 people in line, and MGM had been hacked, and they literally had pieces of paper that they were signing people in with and manually letting them into a room, and it was a 4.5 hour wait.
And that's in Las Vegas.
Yeah. And luckily I had some cash, because I like to travel with cash. Yeah. Been pretty lucky that way. Yeah. Because it's just important, because you never know what's going to happen. It's a little old school, but it's still important. Yeah. And, there was a line there was only 4 people in it. It said the VIP line. And I thought to myself, well, how would they know I'm a VIP or not? So I went to the VIP line and we got checked in no time. She said, are you a VIP? I said, I'm a very important person.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, they were down forever. And I believe what happened there was someone called their IT help desk to reset a password, and it wasn't the person they thought it was. It was that easy. Wow. To really, for some young kid, and I don't think it was China or Russia or any of that nonsense. I think it was a teenager from California, probably. Wow. I think, or something. It was something that simple, and I don't think that's everybody, but it's why go through the hassle, why go through the hassle of, your employee buying gift cards, and why go through the hassle of being down, right? It's just, it's that few days of all the time that all your people are going to spend on something that are, if you could have prevented it, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. And then it's never a good vibe in the office when someone buys gift cards.
We've had it happen twice.
Yeah, we've had it happen twice.
My brother did it for one of the times, like it was day 3 for him. And we saw him like slink out of the office. And at first it was like no red flags. We were just like, oh, he's going to grab lunch or something. Then he's gone for a minute. And I asked one of his coworkers, I think it was Dylan, who was part of our team, and I was like, hey, where'd my brother go? And he was like, oh, he said he was on like a special assignment from Chris. And immediately it was like, no. I had to call him. He's being all cryptic. I'm like, where are you? He's like, I can't tell you. I'm like, yes, you can tell me where you are right now. And he's like,
amazing.
I'm at Albertsons and I'm buying gift cards. I think he ended up spending $2,000.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Well, I was just on a.
Didn't get it back, by the way. It wasn't
Yeah,
reimbursed.
I was on a meeting with a bank the other day, and fairly good size bank, probably 30 locations, and we were having conversations about security and education, and you said it was his day 3. Well, part of the new curve is we're going to give him a half a day of cybersecurity training on day 1 or day 2. So that because they're hit on day 3, hey, they just started their new job.
Yeah.
I can see it on LinkedIn. You can see it on LinkedIn.
Totally.
And hey, who are we going to target? We're going to target the 19-year-old that just started his job.
And wants to impress,
right?
Yeah,
He doesn't know me.
susceptible.
He doesn't. So, versus the ongoing training that's required with the emails. And we've all seen these dang cartoons. We're so sick of them. I know it. I'm gonna come out with a different one, and I'm gonna make billions of dollars. We need the ongoing training, but that training in the very beginning, I think, is another change that's happening.
Yeah.
To where you kind of have to have it.
Yeah, totally. And I think a lot of younger people are like less savvy and more savvy. It's weird. They should be more savvy because you kind of got to do this in your personal life now. Like, I mean, I've tried to have my personal Instagram hacked, and like you get those messages. So people now, I don't use the same password for everything, like some basic rules, right? That you come in with cybersecurity wise. Her brother, the person before that, called me and was like, hey, like I'm on this same thing. I'm on this special task from the CEO. I'm like, it's your second day. The CEO's not sending you on a special task to go buy $2,000 of stuff. Like a little bit of the training up front would have been nice for them. I guarantee they would have wanted it. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay. I want to talk about, this one's probably more for Bobbi-Jo, but I definitely want to hear anything you got to say on it too, Tom, is what resources are out there for young professionals in Boise that they can take advantage of to further their career? And maybe to you, Tom, what advice do you have for young professionals in Boise that want to further their career just in general from a business perspective?
Well, not to be a promoter of the Boise Metro Chamber, but I will take the opportunity. So at the Boise Metro Chamber, we have a program called Boise Young Professionals.
Okay.
And so it is a young professional organization, and the whole goal of it is to bring young professionals together. We get a lot of folks that have just moved here, starting a new job, and they don't know folks. And what I think is really cool about it is it puts people together from different sectors that would have never met, right? Someone from the healthcare sector is meeting someone from the tech sector or the agriculture sector or from a nonprofit sector. And so I think it's one of the oldest young professional programs here in Boise. And we take great pride in it. And again, it's bringing those folks together. So I think that is something that I'd like to put a shout out.
Yeah.
But I also think too, I think it's upon all of us to be a mentor, right? I think everyone, especially as you get further along in your career and more established, that it's our responsibility to make sure that we're mentoring and supporting young professionals how we can, right? And that's something that I was fortunate to be part of, and I try to do the best I can with that. But I think that's something that we can all strive to be a little better about, is making sure we're taking the time to invest in those individuals.
Yeah, in the next generation, and then they'll do it to the next generation, pass on that culture, Yeah.
That really tied it all together for me, Bobbi-Jo, because it made me think about being at one of your leadership summits up in Sun Valley, which I think are the best thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the most. I think I'd spend $5,000 just to go.
Yeah.
It's that
all right,
good.
great.
Well, wait, I think I did, but.
I will again.
And this is a little bit long, but last year it was on education and how are we going to educate our youth? How are we going to educate our post-grads? Like, what are we going to do for higher education? And we talked about making mistakes early and making them often. And I know that's a catchphrase, but wouldn't you like to know before you take your nursing degree that you're going to faint at the sight of blood.
Right.
And if you'd have just spent one day with a nurse at a hospital or 4 hours, you'd realize this is absolutely what I don't want to do.
Right.
You know, that is the biggest saving you could ever do. Or maybe you spend some time with an attorney for a couple hours, 3 hours shadowing, and you go, you know what? I absolutely love this. I want to learn more. And now you're off to get your law degree. And I think when you talked about mentorship, what's really important is that as parents, we push our kids or we push the young people we know to say, hey, I want to connect you with somebody. I met a great guy that works at Givens and Pursley, I believe.
Yeah.
And he actually took my daughter in because I met him up at one of the chambers. I said, hey, would you spend a little time? He said, yeah, send her. I'll take her to court and she can shadow me. And then I just had her do it with another attorney who did family law. And she's like, that lady scares me to
That's real world experience.
That's a good lawyer.
And this was on a Teams meeting for an hour and a half. And she left that meeting going, she just scares me. And I go, well, and she said, well, I'm going to send you some project work and I'm going to pay you $20 an hour to read and review some things. And I was like, Leah, that was just an intro to, hey, I want to learn more about what you do. And I was, just so, and then tying to me, I learned so much from other people that I went and spent time with. So it never ends. So, but when you're young, I think that's the most important. Have someone sit and spend 15 minutes and say, what is a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet? It's not that difficult.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Mentors. I mean, I credit a lot of my career to Russell Brunson. Really kind of like mentored me for a little bit when I was getting started with my own agency when I graduated college.
Did he have you buy gift cards?
No, he did not buy gift cards. He invited me to a couple of his inner circle events out at his headquarters where 40, 8-figure business owners fly in to talk. And I'm sitting there 23 just listening. And you do that a couple times and you get a lot of growth very quick, And also to young people, I think my advice would be, Lauren, I want to hear yours too. We both have careers in Boise young, but relationships and networking lasts, especially here, and I have people call me now that I met and did work for 7 or 8 years ago because something pops up. And with education and like what you were saying, how are we going to educate our post-grads? What I'm noticing is this space, especially in marketing, is changing too fast for education to catch up. So like, when people come out of Boise State, they're not up to date on these new tools that came out 3 months ago. How are they going to be? How is the curriculum progressing that fast? They understand the theory, but the operational execution to be able to do it with the new tools is something they got to learn. So be willing to teach, bring people in. I'm bullish on young people who are excited about learning because the environment we're in, it's almost easier to teach them than it is somebody who is experienced and doesn't want to change to the new ways of doing things. So Lauren, what do you think? I mean, you obviously have a lot of connections in Boise and a lot of networking.
Yeah.
What's your advice to young people?
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't have a mentor, but I'm an oldest daughter. And although I try my best, I watched Grey's Anatomy and Suits, realized didn't want to be a lawyer or do open heart surgery. So that was my intro to those areas. But for me, I think the biggest currency nowadays is communication. I mean, like you say, networking is the best way to get yourself out into the community and meet people, find people that are in positions that you are interested in. And I mean, I have people even message me asking to take me to coffee because they want to know more about what I do or like how to get into marketing and like what those first steps look like. And I love taking those. It's very exciting to be able to see someone who's young and passionate. So I guess my biggest advice is just if there is an area or like a expertise that you want to get into, just find people that are already in those positions that you want and see if they take you up for like a coffee date. I mean, everyone that's asked me, I've gone on, or at least just find a way to connect. Because I think it's a really easy way to kind of get like, your foot in the door and then know somebody already in that industry. That would be probably my biggest piece of advice is just be always open to connect and talk with somebody.
I don't think you can underestimate the power of relationships.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think the more you can be in office downtown in the place where people are walking, like the better for young people. I like remote work. I like hybrid work, but just being downtown, I've met so many people at lunch, at these events, the event's right there. Well, I'm more likely to go to it if it's literally right there than having to drive out 45 minutes to go to the networking event or whatever it might be. So just being downtown, just meeting people, I credit pretty much everything in my career to relationships, just like you said, and it's a very tight community where we get an application, likely somebody here knows or knows somebody or knows somebody that said something about them, right? And if that's positive versus negative, that's the deal breaker. So yeah, and do you guys have is there any besides, what about for people who maybe want to be a mentor? Is there any resources within the chamber or locally that you know about that people should reach out to kind of go through that process?
That's a great question. I mean, if anyone, at the chamber was like, hey, we're interested in being a mentor. I mean, that's actually something we've talked about too, is how do you get in particular my board members or more higher level members? Like, how can we help facilitate some of those things, right? If there's a young through our leadership programs, right? Like it's kind of a matchmaking type thing.
I think here's the thing. CEOs are busy.
Yeah.
People that are really successful, that are doing really well, they don't have time. They're not going to be like, hey, very rarely are they going to be like, hey, I've decided I'm going to put aside 8 hours a week to do volunteer for young kids.
Yeah.
But what they will do is if you ask, they will make time.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the thing, you ask me, my calendar's booked, but guess what? If you ask me to spend 30 minutes with you and you want to learn more about A, B, or C, I will absolutely find in my calendar to do it.
Yeah.
So, but we're not going to set aside time. We're not going to be like, hey, I'm a list of a mentor, so I get called all the time on it. But if you ask me, we're going to do it. And I think that's similar for a lot of executives.
Yeah. There is actually an individual on my team, and he reached out to a very prominent CEO that's a member just to grab coffee. And he's like, hey, FYI, I reached out. And I was like, good for you for being proactive.
Yeah.
And they had coffee. And then that CEO was like, that was really cool that your team member reached out. So I think having, like, there's something said too for being proactive and making the ask, right? I mean, you don't want to be like buggy and send like a mass email to 56 CEOs, right?
Right.
But like
a personalized message.
You send a personalized message.
And don't be afraid to call them a second or third time too.
Yeah.
Because they can always block you.
Yeah.
They can always block you. I mean, I would have never got a date with my wife if she just said I mean, she said no like 3 times. I just kept calling her, right? I mean, you can't give up either, right? Because sometimes you'll catch us at the wrong time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. We're not going to answer. We're busy for the next 2 days, right?
Yeah.
But you catch me on one day when I'm not doing it. It's like, yeah, sure. Tomorrow's great, right?
Yeah.
And
next thing you know,
for the most part, people are more than willing to do that. They're more than willing to sit down. They appreciate the ask.
Yeah. And I think for young people kind of listening, that's exactly it. Go get it. Go figure out who you want to mentor and go ask for it. Because that part is when you get that message, that shows some drive on their side that you're willing to put the time into them, because they're willing to go get it. And it's true. I mean, when you really look back, I think that's probably how most mentoree relationships are started, right? The mentor is not seeking out a mentoree. They're the ones who are seeked out on the other side of it. So, okay, cool. Awesome. So let's talk about, let's talk a little bit about like more of the start of your journey, Tom, of getting Allied going in Boise, right? And some of the challenges you faced, and maybe some things you look back on positively, or that you would have done different, or that you, just some of your experience like that. How was getting started with business in Boise, and what are some of the big lessons you've learned from now or from then to now?
Well, I think it started before I got to Boise. So I went to school in upstate New York, and I had a job. I was running a jackhammer when I finished college.
Okay.
And I would wake up every morning, and I wouldn't have to brush my teeth because my hands would be like this. There was these signs all over this pneumatic jack on this bridge job, and it said, "This may cause nerve damage." And I did that for 3 months in a row on one job. Wow. And the fall came, and it started snowing, and they started laying people off. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, please lay me off." And when that happened, I was like, I got to get out. I got to do something else, right? Yeah. I went to college for a reason. I got an economics degree, which is, hey, I'm not going to be an economist. Let's just say I'm not that guy. So I ended up moving to San Diego, and I got a job selling office equipment, selling copiers. I kind of figured it out. And within 3.5 years of really paying attention, I was able to start a business with a partner down there doing that. And I built that up and sold it. And then worked for somebody else for a little while. But then it became the point where I wanted to be back in business for myself again. Mm-hmm. And that's when I ended up looking at Denver, Boise, and Austin. And I picked Boise because of those things you talked about earlier about why do people move here, right? Mm-hmm. They've got the fine arts. They've got a good secondary education, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I got here, I thought, man, I am from San Diego right now. We're like the tech hub. I'm going to teach all these, rednecks a lesson. Well, was I wrong? I didn't realize Micron and HP were headquartered there, and everybody here was really smart. And it was, and I didn't realize that everybody knew everybody, and everybody went to high school together, and everyone went to college together. And so I was this outsider going, I just have to really work hard, because I was 7 degrees of separation and everyone else was 1.
Yeah.
And like what you guys were saying about, how nice it is because you've been here 7-8 years and all your friends work near you. And, So it was a real lesson in, you just got to get to work and go knock on doors and go talk to people and get into the chamber. And that's one of the first things we did was we got involved with the chambers. We started networking. I got to just meet people and step out of the comfort zone. Yeah. But it's been a good journey. And what was your question again? I would tell my story about
I think you answered. Yeah. Just kind of what, coming into starting business in Boise from that. And I think that degree of separation is a valuable lesson, right? How did you close that? Like, how did you go from 7 to 1 to 2?
Well, okay. So I still struggle with that. My wife pushes me out of my comfort zone more. Hey, did you get his name? Did you get his number? Because I'll have a great conversation and be like, hey, nice to meet you. I forgot your name already. Yeah. That's never been my strength. I always thought that I could outwork everybody. I will work harder. I will work longer. I just do that. Yeah. Right? I don't need to go home at 5 o'clock. I can stay till 7. Right. I can stay till 8. I can come in on Saturday. And I thought I could just outwork everybody. But what I've realized over time is that you just can't do that. You have to have relationships, because you can have the best service in the world. And I'm telling you, I believe we truly have really good service, and we've had really good service. And it's like, so what if the other competitor went to school with Bill? Yeah. It's like, yeah, their service is good enough. I'm like, so it was more of, I didn't realize that perception was reality. And I don't think I believed that till I was about 40. I didn't understand that perception is reality. And over time, I think working hard in the reputation, having good service and treating people fairly and, that kind of stuff comes around. People that quit or got fired, they're like, hey, they're referring somebody to you. Yeah. And you're like, they're like, well, I know that somebody else might look like they're this huge, great, do everything right. Well, I know more about that than you guys are actually really good. So that started. So now I'm at the next level where I'm like, how do I crack these accounts that are these large accounts, the Microns, the St. Luke's, because we still don't get a seat at the table after 20 years. It's very difficult to get into these companies. So that's why I'm working with the chamber to say, how can I open some of these relationships? Because when a company's been doing business with somebody for 50 years, it's hard to crack that. Yeah. You can, and it's hard to crack those relationships at the highest level. Right. Yeah. Right? 100%. So now I'm more out of my comfort zone. I'm doing more like, we have a partnership with the Grove Hotel now for all the hockey and all the, all the copiers and all that kind of stuff at there. And so now we've got this hockey suite, which awesome. Have you seen this suite? It's absolutely beautiful. She was telling me that she put it all together. She did an awesome job. It's absolutely beautiful. So I've been down there 2 nights this week. I'm like bags under my eyes right now. I'm entertaining customers in the suite, and not just customers, but prospects too. And it's good because it's put me in that position of starting a relationship. Going, hey, listen, I'm a normal guy. Yeah, right. I'm drinking Coors Light, and I'm just hanging out. Yeah, right. Exactly. So I'm stepping more out of my comfort zone even now to say I need to make sure that I build these relationships. If I want to take this company to 75 or 80 million, it's going to take those larger accounts, those larger relationships, and people need to have that trust. Yeah. So for me, overcoming that, 7 degrees of separation into getting it down to just a couple is saying yes to a lunch today with a business owner. Yeah. Hey, I'm curious about this. I just acquired a couple of companies. I said, I'll come help. Tell me, what do you want to know? Right. And going out and having lunch and establishing that relationship.
It's making yourself more available.
Making myself more available and doing some more of the social stuff. Yeah. Right. Just so we can have a conversation and be like, my kid's messing up too. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Listen, I got the same problem at home.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
Yeah.
my mother, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
No, I love you, Mom, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's true. It's
all
true.
these issues, you know?
Yeah.
And being more on a personal level of, hey, listen, we're all not that different, right?
Yes.
We all got problems.
Totally.
So you can talk about, hey, you're not alone, you know?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm very similar to you on that, on the hard work side of it. Like, I feel like you can just outwork everybody, and that's good enough. But in sales or in business development, no one really cares how hard you work anymore if they don't know the results and what that means in the relationship. You know, I mean, when you're an employee and you have a manager or boss, that goes a long way, right? To work really hard and to be seen like that. But when you're trying to land a huge account, you're trying to get a seat at the table. They're not giving you the seat because you stayed till 7. You know, like you said, they're giving you the seat because you met them and you had a conversation with them. And when me and Chris travel and talk to people, like, we're not making the sale when we talk to people. We want to be like, oh, we're ready to talk about AI. Like, I met these guys. Let me give Derek and Chris a call, right? Because it's that relationship building that starts that next conversation. And I think, to your point, the bigger the deal, the more red tape there is, the more approval there is, the more you need to ally in that company that is advocating for you.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
An example of that is we just landed a multi-million-dollar contract, and you know, it was an account that we couldn't get into, and it happened to be that, and this is why taking care of customers is super important, right? I had a customer that I had cold called the first year I was here, and they had like one little copier, and then I got the deal, and they grew into like, they had like 30 copiers, right? And then they had 5 IT guys, then they had 400 employees, and then they sold, and then just the account just went away because they were bought out by some company in New York. So the customers are yours until they're not yours, right?
Yeah.
But I managed that account personally for years, the first 8 years of business, and out of the blue, a sales guy goes, yeah, so-and-so reached out and they want to get a quote. And I said, oh, he said, yeah, he wants to talk to you. And it was the IT manager that I work with at that first company. And I said, hey, do you want to get some references and referrals? He goes, no. He goes, I'm very confident your company can handle this.
Nice.
And it was $1 million a year in revenue, you know, with thousands of devices throughout the nation. And it was just more like, no, I know you're going to do the right thing. You're going to own what you do. You know, I mean, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
And now I'm bugging him. Hey, we need to schedule an account review. Like, the manager's calling me saying he's not taking my call. Well, you pick up the phone and tell him he needs to meet with you to do the account review because we want to fix any small issues before they become big issues.
Yeah.
Right.
And a good way to do that is to meet with them quick, meet with them fast, address the issues, and move on. But anyways, the moral of the story is I think over time, if you do work hard, that's not to be understated.
No.
If you do work hard over time and do a good job, I think that can really help your business grow.
Totally. And like what you were saying, perception's reality. Working hard, it builds slower, but that still builds perception, right? Because like exactly what you're saying, the perception that you'll be able to get it done right, and do a good job is, you cannot buy that. You have to earn that.
Yeah.
You have to earn that through reputation, work, and experience. You know,
it costs
you can try to
money.
buy it with good marketing, but ultimately, to really get a real referral like that, you have to have done it and proved it and earned the trust of somebody along the way.
Yeah,
you know?
it costs money sometimes to do it right, you know, but you really have to.
Yeah.
Because people are watching. You know, your kids are watching you, your employees are watching you, and you go to fire somebody, you know, everybody's watching.
Right.
How do they treat that person? Did they pay them what they were supposed to? Did they get all their commissions paid? And that they start, people watch that stuff, and it's really important to pay attention to it and do the right thing, because then they'll treat you better too. And even if you get wrong, you still got to just take that high road.
Yeah.
And
so
do
reputations hold pretty much.
They
Guard
do.
your reputation.
They do. Exactly.
Yeah. I think they work hand in hand. Like, reputation puts you where you are to be in those conversations, but then like familiarity, relatability, being able to actually have a conversation with someone and have that like we like and trust each other moment, that puts you in that position to actually close. Like, they want to know Tom Beeles, the CEO, but they also want to know Tommy B.
Yeah.
Feel comfortable with you, right? That's what it boils down to. It's like, how much can I get Tommy B to come out?
Totally.
Okay, now we're cool.
No, you're 100% right. That is true. That
was
That
San
is
Diego surfing, okay? That was different. That was a different time.
I like the San Diego surfing guy. You gotta give him a little bit of that.
Okay, awesome. Well, all right, we'll run it down here. I got a couple questions, and Bobbi-Jo, I don't want to put you in anything uncomfortable, so if you can't answer these, don't worry about it. But what are some of your, like, what's your favorite restaurant in Boise? Like, I want to know just kind of what are your recommendations to people locally, Tom in specific, right? Of like, you've been here for 22 years, seen it go up and down. And I think it's fun to give local businesses who do well and impress people a shout out on the podcast. So what are some of your favorite places to go locally?
I don't go there all the time, but Chandler's Steakhouse is bar none, best steakhouse in town.
Okay.
They're just good. And that's an impress you moment to go there. And I don't go there all the time. It's expensive, but it's great.
Yeah.
As far as a just really good Boise place.
Yeah. That nice fine dining.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what about this one? Probably you can answer, Bobbi-Jo. What about like things to do down here? Like, what are some things in Boise that are uncovered gems that you like to do and you like to do, Tom, from being here for so long that some people should go check out, whether it be business related or not locally?
Well, I say summertime is biking on the Greenbelt.
Yeah.
You got like 30 miles to go, and the music and the food trucks, and every weekend there's something going on.
Yeah.
It's like, that's like super cool, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
All the pop-up shops at Garden City's been transformed.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about what wasn't cool before. Okay.
Yeah.
In Boise, we want to gripe about the traffic. Guess what? Garden City wasn't even really safe.
Yeah.
They call it Garbage City.
Yeah, they used to. Well, they don't call it that now.
No.
It's pretty nice.
Well, 11th Street too. I mean, this has come a long way the past couple of years. It's gone from kind of like the outskirts of downtown to almost like a higher restaurants over here, more like old school European feel between Renegade and Stardust and Percy. Like everything this side has really grown a lot too. And we probably noticed it just because we're right here, but when we moved in this office, like Renegade wasn't built, that Broadstone Hotel wasn't even started, right? It was like barren over here, and now it's like we're in the middle of the scrapers. So
yeah, I think this city, I mean, if it's from all the sporting activities Boise State has to offer, Hawks, Steelheads, now soccer, our professional soccer team, you can hike, walk the Greenbelt. You can, there's hiking trails everywhere. You can ski, you can do the river, so you can fish. There is not a lack of opportunity. I have 2 children. There are tons of things that are kid generated. We used to love, they're older now, but going to the zoo, we have tons of museums. I mean, there's just so much to do here. There's not a lack of things. And I think we're really lucky to have all of it just right here.
Totally agree. Yeah, I and the park initiative, right? There's a lot of parks around here.
The parks in the city are amazing.
They're awesome.
It's amazing.
It's just go spend a day there, if you got nothing else to do. All right, last question for you guys before we get out of here is, what is one thing you're really looking forward to in 2026? Whether it be personally, business, or whatever it might be. What is something for 2026 that you're excited about or looking forward to? Bobbi-Jo?
Yeah, I think mine's just to be present and enjoy, if it's the time with my kids and my husband or the cool things I get to do at my job and working with great businesses. I think just being more present kind of in those moments and enjoying everything. The older I get, time goes by so fast. 2025 was like that to me. And so I think maybe just enjoy things, be a little bit more present.
Yeah, slowing down a little bit. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, 2025, 2026,
it's
right?
Nuts.
Well, I remember in 1998, I was looking at some lease portfolio on stuff, and there were leases that weren't going to be up till 2003 or 2004. I go, oh my gosh, that's a long ways away.
Yeah.
You look back like, man, that was over a long time ago.
Yeah.
But if you asked me this a week from now, I could have given you very bullet point answers with my completed goals.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet.
We're just looking
it would have been about 2027.
Yeah. I'm excited for this year. We're going to break ground on a new building.
Okay.
So I'm excited about getting everybody in one place because, when admin's over there and marketing's over there and the warehouse guy, you don't even know he has a full beard because you haven't seen him in so long. I think I'm looking forward to getting that going, getting that project, done in 2027, but getting it started. And being present, really enjoying the time with family and friends and enjoying that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think the business stuff, we're just going to blaze ahead and just do that. That's been doing it for so long. It's just part of what we do. Right.
Yeah.
But taking the time to build stronger relationships.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And stronger friendships that are maybe a little deeper than, hey, let's grab a beer or something. You know what I mean? Like just ones that are a little bit stronger.
Agreed.
Friendships.
That's what I want to do for 2026 too. Exactly that is I've built a lot of business relationships, especially locally, but seeing where those go next, when it's a little bit out of the grind and the work and developing more real relationships with people locally, because as we were saying, especially at our age, right? I mean, these stick. Like you were saying, I went to the bathroom the other day in the kitchen and there's my old college, like pretty much roommate. He's like, hey, he's like, you work here now? He's like, yeah, I work here now. Same floor, so it's all very connected and same thing. I'm excited to build some more relationships. So Thanks guys for coming. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you two want to touch on before we go, or you guys feeling okay with everything?
I want to hit on what he said about, cybersecurity and protection. I do think it is on the mind of everyone that runs a business or an organization of, it's something that kind of keeps me up at night. Right.
Yeah.
And having, a casual lunch with him, we were talking about it, and where we think that we have it under control. He was asking me some questions, and I was like, never thought about that. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's a necessity now. Right. And it is something that, we all have to address in protecting yourself. I mean, I think it can turn a business upside down in the matter of minutes. And so I really just want to highlight, what he said and the importance of it. It is, we're in a new era now, and I think we all have to make sure we're protected, and it's the simple things from, a phishing attack or you name it. And
so I think you can't just think you're going to go lock your doors. I think you really got to invite people in that do that for a living, and not be afraid of the big, dark, hairy salesman that's going to come in and like steal all my stuff. Right.
Yeah.
I think we really got to get away from that, or I don't want to be sold anything. Because when we put those walls up, we're really saying we don't want to learn anything.
True.
And I'll tell you what, if you don't want to learn anything about AI, or you don't want to learn about security, you're going to be left a little bit. Mm-hmm. And what I really appreciate about Bobbi-Jo and her team is she said, oh, if you guys want to come in and just talk to us about AI and what's going on. And my guys went in there, and these are engineers. They went in and talked to some of her operations people, and they talked about, you know what they left the conversation with? Her operations people are going to go back and talk to their managers and say, hey, what processes do you have? What are we doing that's frustrating? What things are you doing that are just kind of challenging?
Yeah.
And having a conversation, because that may or may not lead to some work to do or something that can be improved. But what's lost there? A couple hours of time to just investigate if there's a better way to do something, or a better way to be more secure, or a better way to do something because we've done it the same way for 10 years. Because a lot of times things become complacent in relationships.
Right.
And, you only hurt the ones you love. You don't go on that date anymore with your wife, all these little things. I'm just saying, like, you got to sometimes peel it back and say, okay, I'm going to dedicate some time to working on the business with people who know what they're doing.
Yeah. 100%.
And if they don't know what they're doing, you can throw them out in an hour.
Yeah.
Right. And there's no harm, no foul. Right.
Especially with like how AI's hit a little bit of like, we can kind of see what it can do from an overall standpoint compared to last year. It was like every month was like something comes out that you're like, okay, so what I just learned doesn't matter, or this does, or this can be used. But at least from my perspective, I felt like the last couple months been able to get my footing on what can be done, what can't be done, and how it can help businesses now that it's kind of just kind of settled a little bit, like the LLM craze.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you some questions because, because here's the thing.
Your turn.
I don't think every business is like AI is going to really help us a ton. I think there's probably one little piece in every business where it could help something.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of businesses where it's going to do absolutely nothing for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But in your marketing business, as a social platforms, you're providing services to companies.
Yeah.
Of the past, you've been doing this how many years now? 10?
Yeah,
12?
about 10
years.
Yeah.
Okay. Of the past 10 years, what has the accelerator been? How much change has happened in the past 3 months versus the past 2 years versus the first 8 years? I'm just curious.
Okay.
What is your take on the percentage of changes in that time frame up until today, January 10th or whatever it is, right?
Well, I'll tell you this much, and it's a multi-pronged answer. It starts with search. It starts with how people find businesses.
Yeah.
For my whole career, Google had a monopoly. People found businesses by Google. If not, maybe you use like Yahoo or something, but you were looking at a search engine. You were looking at Google. And within the past literally 4 to 5 months, so many of our clients who track data are talking about how many more people are coming from LLMs. So whether that be from Gemini, whether that be from ChatGPT, and one of our biggest clients that just found us down in Vegas, or one of our most that we really enjoy working with, found us from ChatGPT, asking, hey, who can help me with SEO in Las Vegas? Right? Gave us a call, and that started the relationship. So especially, and this is an interesting part of it, I thought it was going to be the younger generation that led that came up, and they were the ones who were AI native. But really, you talk to someone who's 55, 60,
Yes.
and you show them that they can now use an LLM versus Google, and they're like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I'm going to ask questions. It's going to tell me answers. I'm not searching through your library of results anymore.
No.
So imagine telling your kid, hey, yeah, we used to search the internet we put in a query, and then it gave me like 50 sites, and I looked through them to try to find what I wanted. It's like archaic. So right away, how are your customers finding you is changing, and figure that out because it's different for every business. Like you said, it's not all applicable.
Your whole business model has been built around how can I get you to the top of Google?
Exactly.
I mean, let's be honest.
No, absolutely. That's what
all
SEO
you
is
guys
built
spend
about.
your time doing.
Yeah,
and that's kind of ending right now.
It's ending, and what it is it's changing because people will always look for businesses through some sort of search engine, whether that is it's implanted in our brain in 20 years and you're saying, hey, who can do this, but wherever people are looking for your business, you just need to show up, and you need to show up high. Forever, that was Google, right? And they had the monopoly, and it'll be like that for a while. But if you are a very, very niche business and people are looking for you on this very, very niche website, then you better be on that website. You better be high, or else you're losing traffic, you know? And then to another side of your marketing question is where AI really has been a benefit is it's accelerating workflows on our end. Huge, without a doubt. That's operationally, that's creatively. But the most effective is like replacing production level stuff. So, production level commercials. For instance, there's a brand called Conk Sleep, and they do online sleep apnea diagnosis and testing. So instead of having to go through a sleep study or something like that, you just go take an online interview like Hims and Hers style, right? And we needed to create a commercial for them about this to advertise. And we did this commercial that has like every scene is these perfectly blue walls, these perfectly white sheets, these people that are like dealing with sleep struggles. There's like 5-6 people in it. It's AI generated, right? If we go do that shoot and create that commercial 4 years ago, it's like a $20,000 commercial between paying actors, getting people there, maybe 3 months to get it all done, post-production. That took me about 2.5 hours solo to create that thing. And it is top notch. Kind of a weird thing. One of the girls who works there, it was the Charmin Ultra Bear voice. So she did the voiceover. She's the one from the commercial. So it sounds all nice, but speed to production. So what does that allow? Well, first of all, it allows us to price that differently to the client. And then it allows the client volume wise, shoot, we can do one a month. So now you get 12 production commercials a month for a couple thousand versus one for 50,000 over 6 months. Well, now you can see if it works. Because what if you spend $50,000 on a commercial that doesn't work? You know what I mean? So all around. But to answer your question, really, yes, these last 6 months have changed more than anything marketing ever. And if you're not keeping up, you will be left behind, whether it's now or whether it's later, and marketing in general, how much more pieces of information and content do you consume per day than you did 10 years ago? Probably 10, 20x. So your brain is filtering most of it out. So if you're not capturing people's attention and making them think about something, then you're noise, So that's my soapbox on it essentially, but absolutely just allows us to do work better, faster, and allows you as a business to be able to get a lot more out there, a lot quicker.
I'll send you a bill for this podcast.
Perfect. That sounds great. 15 every 15. I charge by the 15
Thanks,
minutes. Yeah.
Bobbi-Jo.
Yes,
Thanks everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. And cheers. That was awesome. Yeah.
Thanks.
We're good to cut it.
Cool.